seen Gayle King take one Sports Illustrated swimsuit 2024. I still can't freaking believe it, but here we go.
Look, I don't care what y'all say. Gayle is not trying to go out like Whoopi Goldberg. That's who she's working with. And then we'll get our opinion from resident senior expert.
What happened to older women that taught younger women how to respect themselves?
The Bible states that older women are to teach the younger women. Why is it I come on TikTok and I see a bunch of older women ain't doing nothing different than what younger women are doing? Twerking, showing mad skin. Like, teach these younger women how to be ladies. That way, when a guy comes along, a guy doesn't attempt to treat her like she's a piece of property or a piece of meat, some type of object. You feel what I'm saying? Teach the younger generation respect, honor, dignity. Teach them that. Even outside the Bible, it's just common sense. You don't want to see, most people expect to see an older woman act like a lady, carry themselves a certain type of way. Show them how to be ladies.
Men, are you dealing with issues like this? Booker said, faith is before you. Choose wisely. One of the biggest indictments in dealing with modern women is when some modern women don't realize and understand that their time has passed them by. Often, many times in the context of clinical therapy, I see a lot of people, men and women, that lack self-awareness. Often self-awareness, when it comes down to the men, is predicated in the lack of power. But the self-awareness, when it comes down to women, is a lack of understanding that they are actually older than how they act. And when you think about arrested development can be a byproduct of anyone. But the topic of today is beware of the fatback TV. And the reason why I decided to use the metaphor, because this is a metaphor about the fatback TV, is because the fatback TV is a TV that often was seen in the past. The fatback actually was the original CRT TV, but then it went to the LCD. And those were some of the original high-def TVs. But those TVs were really TVs from back in the 80s. Those were TVs, not 80s, but from the mid to the mid 2010s, 2008 to 2010. Those were the early LCD fatback TVs. And the modern woman is a concept or a symbol of a fatback TV, because she still thinks that she's a modern TV. The modern TVs are 4K and 8K, but she doesn't realize that she's a fatback TV. And we see it, guys, all the time, to the righteous sisters and also to the brothers that are cogent and wise, that the fatback TV is a TV that has more or less passed its prime, but the fatback TV thinks that it still is relevant today. You know, when you hear the old trends and the old cliches that 20 is the new 30. And that's all based in delusion. And I want you guys to hear me and understand, I'm not against a man or a woman being vibrant and youthful. But you have the mindset of a fatback TV when you think that you are younger when you're actually older. And there's nothing wrong with getting older and aging gracefully. We all should strive to age older and gracefully. But it becomes problematic, once again, when an older woman thinks she's still young, and instead of embracing the present and the future, she's still living in yesterday. And thus, it's rise of the fatback TV. And there are a lot of fatback TV guys. There are a lot of fatback TVs. They're like wisdom. They're like discipline. And they also are suffering from a state of arrested development. And you know, when you see sisters like the young lady that so eloquently said in the beginning of this clip, what happened to the older women to teach the younger women, you don't see enough women like that. Women that are modest, not only in character, but also in spirit. Women that more or less live in the past only to learn to live in the present and to anticipate the future. And you know, we're not going to have a more perfect union and a more healthy society until we understand that what was in the past is now gone. And I decided to do the show, guys, Rise of the Fatback TV, because I heard a conversation by my dear friend, A Peaceful Life, and he was talking about the chronicles of Gayle King. And Gayle King is an example of a fatback TV. Gayle King is not a bad-looking woman, but she's still a fatback TV. Her time is gone. She'll never have the beauty and the valor and the vanity of a younger woman. And the problem is, the scripture said that charm is vain and beauty is deceitful, but who can find a virtuous woman? And many women in their younger years were vain. And some of the women in their older years are still vain. And they still have not learned from the lessons of the past to live in the present and to anticipate the future. And because of that malady and that delusion, then thus they have become the frog in the pot, but also they have become what I call the fatback TV. And the fatback TV is dangerous because the fatback TV is still living in the 90s when her backside was still perky and her breast was still perky and she didn't have great in her temple. And also a malady of the fatback TV is that because of stress, the men that she's dated, the men that she's allowed to penetrate her heart and her mind, the men that have caused her trauma, she's living through that trauma and also living in the past. And guys, you got to be careful with those fatback TVs, because fatback TVs many times will try to sabotage the younger women and try to sabotage the younger women by telling them things that can be a detriment not only to their well-being, but also to the detriment of their character and also getting a long-term relationship. Because sadly, guys, there are a lot of older women that are still living in the past, and if they get the opportunity, they will sabotage young women. And that's why it's so important that the older women teach the younger women about the things that they learned from the past and to teach them how to become better women in the present and to anticipate the future, because the fatback TV, once again, is no longer as relevant as the new TVs that are the 8K and the 4K. You can dress up a fatback TV all you want, but the hard drive and the wiring of a fatback TV is still a TV that's outdated. And I know that sounds sort of stressing and daunting, but you should live in the past only to learn from the past, live in the present, and anticipate the future, because the lessons of the past can be life lessons to the younger women so they can be a better group of women, and so that the younger generation of women can teach the next generation of women how not to make the bad choices that they made in the past. And because there's such a condition or a bevy of so many weak men not teaching the younger women, I'm not teaching or telling women the truth, many times these men don't tell them the truth. When you have righteous sisters like the woman in the beginning of the clip, and men that mean well so that these women can get better, they don't respond to the message of what those brothers and sisters are saying, but they will rather remain in their delusion. Because living in delusion is a lot easier than facing reality. I'm sure that some of you guys that are listening to this have dealt with fatback TVs, either in dating, either in relationships, either in other areas in your life. And the hardest problem, guys, with dealing with fatback TVs is that fatback TVs have a lot of static. And you know, those LCD TVs, once they get a certain age, they actually burn out. After so many hours, LCD TV are burn out. And so they have a lot of static, which in essence is a lot of resistance. And whatever you say or do, the fatback TV will not respond in a positive way. So guys, let this be a lesson to the wise women and also the men that are willing and valid in telling the truth. And let them understand that in order to have a more vibrant and perfect community, you can't be a slave to your past. You must learn from the past, live in the present, anticipate the future, and try to build a semblance of what was great in the past so that we can try to have a better community. Even though I believe succinctly that what was great in the past will never come back again into this lifetime. It's only a nostalgia. So once again, guys, don't be besmirched by the fatback TV that has all these demands and high expectations. Know what your worth is, know what your limitations are, know what your values are, and never compromise. And I need you guys to understand this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. And understanding how the fatback TV is still a victim of his own ignorance will also keep you in that negative trap if you don't know what your worth is, what your standards are, and what your values are. Be well and beware, guys, once again, of the fatback TV.